Good morning, good evening, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you might be doing. We wish to welcome you to the Silverlight Show. The Silverlight shines to illuminate that which lies hidden in darkness. For those of you tuning in today, we welcome you in. As you can see, we have a little bit of snow that we didn't have yesterday, but that's just the fun thing of living in the Great White North. Taking a little bit of a break until I start releasing episodes of Exodus. Looking forward to doing it. First one's already in the tank. I'm just not releasing it till Monday. We're not here to talk about that. I've been noticing a pretty disturbing trend going on. And while it's in a microcosm, it's reflecting what's going on worldwide. Now, if you remember, back in 2020, the government stepped forward and put forth rent control and all sorts of things, not only to help the citizens, but the businesses as well. Let's be honest, rent hits everybody equally. If you're living in a basement apartment and I increase your rent by even as little as $25, that bites into your pocketbook. Well, I'm looking at a lot of smallish businesses, like employing between 1 and 30 people, and these things are being decimated. And these are not startups. These are businesses that have been around for 30, 40, even 50 years. And the common thread I'm noticing between these businesses is that they all say the customers are great, the customers are there to support them, but their rent has doubled. Yeah, their rent has doubled. I don't care what kind of business you're running. Well, the elite businesses can run it, but we're worried about the mom and pop businesses here because they're the ones that employ more people proportionally. They're the ones that give higher salaries proportionally. So they're really the lifeblood of the economy. And against this, landlords, let's be honest, if you're a landlord and you've gone 2 years without any sort of price increase, yes, I understand you need to raise your prices because you've lost some tenants, you have extra expenses, but doubling your rent just means you're going to put more businesses out of business. And let's look at people, let's just say when you're in your 20s and 30s, you do open that successful restaurant, that successful deli, that successful Indian restaurant, whatever it is that your cooking passion is, you open it, you nurture it, you keep it going. And then 40, 50 years later, something happens and your rent doubles. You're thinking, retirement looks pretty good about now. That way I don't have to pay employees, supervise them, have software set up to take care of all their taxes, etc., etc. And this is what is worrying me. They're telling us in the modern world that we need to be thinking with more small businesses and disrupting the market. But the reality is the exact opposite is happening. They're making it harder to run any kind of business, aside from something in your own house or your apartment or whatever you want to run it out of, which limits you to like accounting, maybe on telephone counseling, stuff like that. Like there's a limit at what you can do. And I don't talk about basement brokers because I don't like dealing with basement brokers, never have, never will. But we're in this interesting period where the opportunity is there for people to exploit niche markets worldwide. Very technically, you can make a lot of money trading cargo between China and Vietnam. That's not the kind of knowledge most people have. The knowledge that most people have is plain and simple: how to cook a meal, how to do massage, how to do people's nails. Simple stuff that you can right away, cutting people's hair. There's a good example. The skill a lot of people have, but you have to rent a chair, or if you build a business, then you have chairs to rent out to other people. None of them can really survive a 50% increase in their rent or a 100% increase in their rent. We're coming out of this contagion, this viropocalypse, whatever you want to call it. But the businesses aren't going to be the ones to help us get back on our feet. And the problem is, where do you cut that small business aid off from your Fords, your GM, your Chrysler, your mega corporations who really don't care about your market? That's a hard distinction, and there'll be a lot of people that will argue they should be considered a small business. But that's not the way the world works. Like I said, 1 to 30, I'm looking at businesses in 1 to 30 people. So think about a boutique at your local mall, or, the fast food place that isn't one of the big chains. They have 1 or 2 places, they throw a burger across to give you your money, and you're happy for a couple minutes. That's kind of the target that I'm looking at here. And it looks like we're going to get a major market correction that's going to kick those people out of business. That does nobody any good. Well, maybe it'll help solve diabetes and stuff like that, but overall, it's not a good situation. So what do we do? Well, honestly, I would recommend right about now, don't open a business. Yes, the markets are opening up and it's theoretically a good time, but the risks are just too darn high. The rewards are there, don't get me wrong, but unless you're the next Willy Wonka, sorry, I couldn't think of an immediate example that my entire audience would know, but unless you're the next magician of whatever that your field is, you're kind of in a lot of trouble. This means that you won't be hiring any employees, and that means those employees won't be working. And then we wind up with more people getting benefits, employment insurance, Ontario Works, welfare, whatever you have, food banks. And there's fewer rich people sitting at home with their multi-million-dollar bank accounts or multi-billion-dollar bank accounts, multi-trillion in a couple cases, but that's pretty limited. And they are not pulling their weight in the community. Our only real way to deal with them at present is to tax them. But then you need to get that targeted taxing where you're only affecting the biggest businesses, and you have to make your legislation worded in a precise way, because it'll be very easy for the big businesses to say, okay, fine, below 30 employees, no problem. We're taking our IT department, we're splitting it into 6 companies that are interdependent, and they all have contracts with each other. So there, we are now getting tax benefits. Like I said, you've got to be so careful in how you word this. Or we're going to need a boycott. Now, I know we've tried to do oil boycotts before. We've tried to do all sorts of things. And ultimately, people go where their money does the most good. Yes, there's a few people like me that refuse to go to Walmart or any of the evil empire. And yeah, I live what I say. But at the same token, getting people to follow me, I'm like a voice in a hurricane. Just no one's going to be paying attention to me because people count their pennies. And this is a good thing. People should be. But when you get places like Walmart that are easily able to weather the storm and will always find employees and will always find whatever operating capital that they need, it creates a very unfair environment for everybody else to play in. You're not going to open up next to a McDonald's unless you have a product that's significantly different from anything they have in their menu. You're not going to open up an ice cream place next to a Dairy Queen because you're going to lose. Ultimately, Dairy Queen and McDonald's and Walmart are going to lower their prices until customers say, I want to buy the nicer stuff, but I can't afford it, so I'm going to buy the cheaper stuff. Simple logic. And with the prices skyrocketing and expenses skyrocketing, we're going to be in for a rough couple years. If you have a mortgage, I would suggest you lock in the rates now. I don't think they're going to jump a whole lot, but I can see a couple percent for sure. If you are buying a car, buy it now. Try to pay in cash if possible, or lock your rate in now while the prices are low. Then again, if you had money to do that, you probably did it already. You don't need to hear it from me. No matter what, let's leave it at there. Hope you enjoyed this show. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. And from all of us here at the Silverlight Show, we hope you have a fantastic day.